Hey y'all, it's Brittany.
And it's Clay.
Welcome to a special edition of GAM's podcast. We have a very special guest with us today, Commissioner Tim Echols. Welcome, Tim.
Great to be with you guys. Thank you.
Well, Tim, this is Clay, and I get the honor of practicing before you at the commission. And I know you've been out to see a lot of manufacturing sites because before you even, I think, got sworn in, you were already reaching out to us to go visit manufacturers, understand their issues, and make sure that you were doing a good job of representing those interests in your work on the commission. So we thank you for that.
Tim, I hear we have a little election coming up here in October, starting early voting, and then a big election in November. So kind of the point of this podcast is really to make sure that our members hear from you, hear what's important to you, learn a little bit about you. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it over to Clay, since you guys definitely do some podcasts together and do a lot of work together down at the PSC.
So Commissioner Echols, tell us a little bit, tell us about your background.
I grew up on the south side of Atlanta. My granddad had bought a farm down in McDonough in 1942, but he was an entrepreneur, really an auctioneer was his kind of favorite gig that he had. And then he worked his way up as just an auctioneer until he could buy Bishop Brothers Auto Auction, and grew that, bringing all of his sons and daughters into the business. And then eventually the grandkids like me were involved at the car auction. So it's really a fun life, coming up under an entrepreneur.
So you were sort of imbued with that entrepreneurial spirit from a very early age. And then as you grew older, what would make you want to get involved in politics? What turned you on to politics the first time?
I really diverted from the family business in college and got into ministry. I was president of the Baptist Student Union at the University of Georgia, met my wife there, and we eventually went the nonprofit route. But I was still using that entrepreneurial, DNA, creating something. I created teenpact.com. It started in Georgia and eventually to all 50 states. So I feel I've never really left my entrepreneurial roots. I just shifted them over really to community service and community work. And then, about 16 years into this nonprofit, the Public Service Commission seat became available and was able to win the seat. And I've had it ever since.
What is it about the PSC? I know that, with sense of public service, some people don't know what the Public Service Commission does. It says public service, but they might not understand that that's utilities. What do you do every day? I mean, what is your job?
I don't think I would really have this job if I didn't have all of the opportunity for community outreach and education. I like going out and speaking to 50 Rotary clubs a year, speaking to schools, and creating the Clean Energy Roadshow, helping educate people about technologies, trying the technologies myself. So that's really what's made the job so fun for me. And it's why I wanted to stay in the job, because it really does have a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurial kind of educational ideas. And that's what I've done with the job.
Yeah, I think you are certainly the first commissioner that I remember having practiced down there a long time, who really came in and utilized, social media and technology and the internet to really reach out to people. That's helpful, people to understand what it is you do and how it impacts our economy. So I guess I want to focus on energy with some questions here. And, we've seen with volatility in energy markets and costs rising, and different states and jurisdictions are dealing with it in different ways. But tell us what you think Georgia has done, or what you've tried to do to address that type of environment.
It's unfortunate that we had so many things happen at the same time, the pandemic, and then trying to build a nuclear reactor out there. That thing just turned into a very difficult project to finish, and it's amazing we ever did finish it. I'm glad we did. We need the power for sure. And then, of course, the inflation that came out of the pandemic, it was a difficult time for us, from 2020 to 2025. And I'm glad we're done with that. We froze the rates because we were so concerned about the impact that it was having on our both residential customers and commercial customers. So I think you're seeing the utility who was hesitant to want to do this initially, I'll tell you, because I approached the president of the Southern Company with it myself. I didn't really get much love from him on that, but over time, I think with other commissioners kind of chiming in, and I think it became kind of the consensus way to protect our consumers for 3 years. So I'm really glad we did that, and to this date, I haven't heard any other state freezing rates. I think we're unique. You may have it happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, yeah, and just so everybody who's listening understands what the commission has done, we were supposed to have a Georgia Power rate case this year. I can tell you from my experience and from my conversations with the company that, the requested increase would have been significant. For you to have taken the lead, Commissioner, I think is great, and encouraging them to freeze those base rates for another 3 years. That's a great benefit to all the citizens of Georgia. So thank you for doing that. Well, when you regulate energy, it's not just about the rate you pay, but it's about where does all this energy come from? I'll tell you that from GAM's perspective, our view is we need all available sources, and that includes, our natural gas plants. It includes our nuclear plants and renewables. How do you view that issue, and where do you see this going in terms of what we have to do to maintain our diversity of supply in the state?
I'm a little concerned about how much natural gas generation that we have right now, 50%, and we're going to build more, I'm afraid, because we're just not in a place where we can build nuclear right now. Progress must go forward, and so we're really stuck with only doing natural gas, which is not all bad. I mean, we can get a fixed and firm price. Southern Company, Georgia Power has a lot of experience with that, and if we can get this war over and done with in the Ukraine, I think it will reduce our price on natural gas by a little bit. So I think in the end, it will be a good thing. But I wish we could build more nuclear right now, but we're just not in a place to be able to do it.
Commissioner, speaking of nuclear, we touched a little bit here on data centers, and a lot of discussion are small modular nuclear plants. Where do you see Georgia maybe going there? I know you see quite a bit of them overseas. I mean, do you think the U.S. is ready for that? Maybe the technology's not quite there, maybe it is, but I'd like your opinion on that, if you don't mind.
I think we're going to see a different model in 10 years. Right now, we've got our traditional, utility build model here, but I do think after Canada finishes with their GE Hitachi reactor and TVA builds 1 or 2, and then maybe another state jumps in, Illinois maybe, whoever the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th one is, I think 10 years down the road, we're going to have fixed and firm prices on one of these models of these SMRs. And I think data centers are going to be able to afford to work with the utility, build it behind their meter or adjacent to their plant, or some kind of structured deal that they work out, and that you're going to see data centers really wanting that nuclear down the road because it's carbon free. They're going to get more pressure, I think, from their stockholders to shareholders to have a carbon free resource. But I think over the next 10 years, I'm not sure they're going to be able to go all in and take a risk, and I just don't think that's going to happen. But say starting from 2035 going forward, I think you're going to see data centers gobbling up small modular reactors, working with utilities maybe in a way that we've never seen before.
Speaking of data centers, there's probably no more energy related topic that we hear more about these days. What is going on, and why is this happening, and what is Georgia doing about it? I'd like for you to, because I think the commission has been very proactive in looking at this issue, and I'd like for you to be able to share that.
I mean, with our phones, we're the ones that are causing the usage here, the customers. We want Netflix, we want TikTok, Instagram, Amazon Web Services. I mean, we're the driving force behind it, so we can't complain too much as customers. But it is going to put a lot of strain on the grid. And I tell people, every day now on the campaign trail, because this is the number one question I get, that, look, your county commissioners are should be the most important politician in your life right now, because they're deciding about the rules for data centers, maybe where they're going to go and where those power lines are going to eventually wrap around your county to get there, and they're deciding where big solar might go and if there's tax abatements on any of these things. So your county commissioners, need your attention. You don't need to be so much worried about what's happening in Washington as you do your own county. As for us at the commission, I mean, we've got the macro part of this. We're to supply power to the need out there, and that could be some of your manufacturers. It could be data centers. It can be a car plant like the Rivian car plant or Hyundai, and we've got to make sure that we're doing this in a wise and prudent manner. And I feel like it's a seller's market for electricity right now, because the utilities aren't bidding against each other for customer choice loads like they have been in the past, at least on the data center side. So I think data centers are probably paying list price for their power, and that list price is allowing us to pay some bonuses, if you will, to existing customers. So I think by the time we build out all of this data center load, our customers, according to Georgia Power, are going to be paying slightly less than they're paying now. So it will put downward pressure on rates, and I think that's really good news after coming through all of this pandemic and and cost overruns at Plant Vogtle and the Ukrainian thing. So I think going forward, it is going to be an easier time for consumers.
Yeah, I think, Commissioner, when there was a case in 2023 and 4 where Georgia Power came in with its updated forecast that was so surprising to everyone, and this burgeoning AI usage and data centers, and that was kind of our analysis too. We had our experts look at it, and it looked like to us that a lot of this data center growth could put downward pressure on rates for other customers. And then after we did that, the commission adopted a set of rules that require more stringent financing and collateral requirements from these new very, very large customers. So you've taken steps to ensure that they're paying for the costs of the impact that they're having. So,
that's right.
I guess the last question would just be about solar and general renewables. We obviously, with the changing administration in Washington, there may be less of an emphasis on that now from a federal policy perspective, but Georgia's still putting up quite a bit of solar, aren't they? I mean, at all levels, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we're continuing to grow solar, but I think if when this tax credit goes away, especially if the Ukraine war ends anytime soon, gas prices will go down, solar prices will go up, and I think it's going to be harder for solar to compete without the 26% federal tax credit. I'm talking utility scale out in a field, sitting on top of a steel piling. But I think there are people out there who have to spend their money on something. My brother likes four-wheelers. I like solar. I have solar on my house. He has a four-wheeler. So, you do with your money what you want. And for me, having solar on my house and participating in this is just part of the joy I get. It's part of the geekiness, I guess, in my life, that I like gadgets, and that's how I choose to use some of my discretionary income. And everybody has to decide, for themselves. So I do think residential solar will just continue, making strides regardless of, of any kind of payback or batteries, or people are just they're gonna want to be geeky gadget people, and they're gonna put it on their house.
Well, thank you for being with us. Before we close things out, I just wanted to mention that Commissioner Echols does have a podcast that has many, many episodes going way back, and you put it out quite frequently. Tell us about that, and then also tell us about the upcoming election, the information about it, and how people can help you, and when they need to get out and vote.
I think we were on episode 339 this week, so we've had
Wow.
had quite quite a few shows. I've learned so much through it, just having guests like you, Clay, and so many others. We've had over 2,000 guests and in the studio and on the show. So that's been really educational for me, as I prepare for the show and interview the guest.
And it's called Energy Matters, just for the
Energy Matters with Commissioner Echols. There are a number of
Yeah.
shows called Energy Matters out there, and then there's a description of each show. You can pick hydrogen, you can pick EVs, coal, manufacturing. We even have a hippie segment sometimes that we play with music, so it's really fun. And my election is November 4th, with early voting October 14th, and I've worked really hard. I think this is a real test of my constituent services that I've been doing over the last 15 years. I think we're going to see if I can overcome the numbers. There are 220 cities with elections on this ballot, and we have calculated that that the Democrats have a 92,000 person advantage in this election. So, I think it is possible, to overcome that. And I'm planning on winning the election and continuing to serve. But I'm certainly working literally day and every evening, out there as I continue to try to alert people to the importance of the commission and kind of how my leadership has worked through the years.
Well, I would just, first of all, personally and on behalf of GAM, wholly endorse you as, serving another term on the commission. We need you on there. You've done a great job, a very balanced job. The commission has to take in a lot of information in these cases and make very difficult decisions where you're trying to balance the interests of a number of different people. And as far as the partisan aspect of it, I would just say, obviously for my Republican friends, but also for my Democratic friends, if you're listening, understand that what the commission does isn't necessarily a partisan exercise like you see on a lot of issues. It really has to go to the economic well-being of everybody in this state. And I think that what Commissioner Echols has demonstrated is that he understands that and wants the best for this state, and has really done a great job helping steer the commission to sensible energy policies over the last 15 years. So we wish you the best of luck. We'll certainly be encouraging people to get out for you and keep at it. Brittany, anything else you want to say or share with Commissioner Echols, or Commissioner Echols, anything you have to say?
Yeah, Commissioner Echols, just appreciate you always working with manufacturing, even sometimes if we don't agree. You've always had an open door, so we greatly appreciate that. And then to all of the members who are listening, and all of the guests that are listening, I would just encourage you to get out, vote, tell your friends, tell your family, and just remember, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Get out there and vote. As Clay mentioned, we have endorsed Commissioner Echols, and we're proud of that endorsement, and definitely wish you the best of luck, Commissioner.
Thank you so much.